Heya, I'm Meri, and I've got a bit of an interesting vlog series coming at you, which is about finding my look. And I know it's a bit weird to say that because as someone that has been successfully wearing clothing since not long after birth, you would have thought I'd figure this out by now, but I definitely think there's a lot more to it than that, and it's a lot more confusing than that too. I actually tried to make this series already and uploaded like part 1 of this on my YouTube channel, and then a week later deleted it, and honestly I thought that I was going to go treading in a little puddle, and instead I feel like I've dived into the ocean and it's just like a mess of confusion, of clothing and confusion, and it's just everywhere, and I don't know, I'm drowning in glitter. So overall, very, very confused and overwhelmed, and this is in no way, shape or form me kind of giving you an education or information. I do not work in the fashion industry. I am not a fashionista, a fashion designer, a fashion stylist, a makeup artist, a hairstyle. I am not in this industry at all. But I am going on a journey, and I am bringing you with me, and I hope you enjoy the journey. And feel free to comment below with your own thoughts and opinions, and if you happen to know more about fashion, not difficult, then feel free to educate the masses. Just know I am not educating the masses. I'm just bringing you guys along with my journey, on my journey, with me. I can English. And hopefully it's going to be an interesting adventure, and it'll be fun and interesting to watch, and we can grow together through it. So before I get into, my starting point, where I want to go, I think there is a lot of stigma attached with the whole idea of a look and fashion and style in general. People look at it as, being fake or changing who you are, or being something that's so commercial or selfish or greedy, or, just very self-indulgent. There's these terrible negative stigmas attached with the entire industry. And I mean, I kind of get it. It's a bit fun making fun of it. I do it too. #fashion. But really, in reality, I don't think there is absolutely anything wrong with finding your look, or more specifically, what I suppose is meant by that, putting actual time into making decisions when it comes to what you wear, how you groom yourself, how you do your hair, etc. Making actual, conscious decisions, thinking about things rather than just throwing on whatever's there. I get it. It's the personality, it's your intelligence, it's what's inside that matters. And yes, that is true. But really, I don't think there's anything wrong with expressing yourself creatively through what you wear. Beyond which, psychologically speaking, humans are very judgmental creatures. And I think it's just the way we are programmed to process the world, especially because nowadays there's just so much information being thrown at us all the time from every angle, that we need to simplify things to understand them enough to be able to function in this world. And I think people make snap judgments for that reason. And a lot of the time, snap judgments are made immediately before a person has spoken or moved around and expressed themselves through body language, just through what they're wearing. And I think that is a real signal that people really do pick up on. And I don't think there is absolutely anything wrong with taking that into consideration. I mean, it shouldn't be the only thing that decides why you wear things. Obviously, people pleasing. I'm not gonna say that that's a great idea, but it is something you can definitely consider when you're looking at the whole picture. You can consider it and then disregard it. You can consider it and vaguely see how it affects your choices. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking that into consideration either. So those are my thoughts and opinions on those kind of controversial points. Feel free to give your own again in the comments, because I know that they are somewhat controversial and people will disagree with me on those things. And that's cool. I actually really like the idea of a world where people can have different opinions, and it's not a personal attack if you have a different opinion. You just think differently, which is great. How boring would a world where everyone thinks the same be? It's very boring. Okay, so before I start with my starting point, I did actually have written down as a dot point that I should speak about my blazer story. And I think this is a really great demonstration of humans being very human. When I went to high school, there was a uniform, because I'm in Sydney, Australia. We have uniformed schools here in Sydney, Australia. But there were options within the uniform. You could have a short sleeve, a long sleeve, you could have a skirt. A lot of people actually made the skirt shorter. You could have a vest. There were 2 different colors, a blue vest, a red vest. You could have a blazer. You could have a tie. You could have pants. Essentially, there were options. There was also people that wore like undershirts, like they'd wear a black shirt under their school shirt or a white shirt to keep warm or because it was edgy, you know, black shirt. But essentially, my mom and my dad decided that they were going to buy me a blazer. And the blazer is a very expensive piece of clothing. It's the most expensive item on the uniform list. And it wasn't really considered particularly cool in my school to wear a blazer. The in thing was to have your sleeves rolled up and tucked into your shortened skirt and not to wear any sort of jumper or blazer or anything like that, obviously, because freezing to death is totally #fashion. But at the same time, I get cold very easily, and I didn't really care what everyone else was doing because I was just one of those temperamental teenagers. I still wanted to be cool though. I still wanted to be cool, and my parents were here with this blazer, which was totally not cool. I was like, didn't really want to wear the blazer. My mom actually dropped me off at the gates of the school as well, which is really cute for like little primary school kids. High school kids, when you're like 16 or 17 years old, a bit more strange, but it meant that I couldn't just, leave the blazer on the train or something. She was watching that blazer walk into the school. There was no choice for me. I had to wear the blazer. And so I wore the blazer and I noticed something very strange. Very, very strange. People didn't tease me, which is what I actually expected to happen. But people started treating me like I was smarter. And nothing about me had changed. Nothing about me had changed. My intelligence hadn't changed. My behavior hadn't changed. I mean, maybe I was slightly more uncomfortable in the blazer, but overall, nothing about me had changed. And I know some people say clothing can change how you feel. I did not feel more intelligent in the blazer. I felt a bit uncool, but that's about it. Really, people were judging off the signal that this blazer is something that smart people wear, therefore I must be smarter. And it wasn't just the other school kids that picked up these signals and started treating me differently. The teachers in the school started treating me differently. My school grades went up. I suddenly got higher grades because I was wearing this piece of cloth. And this really changed my view on clothing a lot. Clothing really does make a difference. In fact, how you dress and how you act really does make a difference. It's not the be all and end all, but it does make a difference. I actually ended up wearing the blazer until the very end of school. Partially because, it started to become a thing I did. No one else did it, so, I felt a bit special. And also partially because it was useful. It got me higher grades. People treated me like I was smarter, which is really nice because being treated like you're stupid sucks. So, in the end, it worked out well, but it's a good lesson and it's, I think, pretty good real world evidence of this. And I think if you speak to more people, you'll find even more real world evidence of this sort of stuff. So getting into why I want to look into my look now. My current starting place is not particularly fancy. My entire wardrobe is almost entirely comprised of novelty shirts that have like a funny slogan or logo on them, or something that I got at an event for free, and $10 eBay tights. Most of my stuff has logos on it, like fandoms, Doctor Who, or Pac-Man, Wonder Woman, Tetris, that sort of thing, because I like pop culture, I like fandoms. When something makes me laugh, I consider getting it as a shirt, I suppose. I haven't actually really bought clothing for a very, very, very long time, so a lot of these items would be considered fast fashion. I slowed that fashion right down, I tell you, because those $10 eBay tights that probably should have been worn once or twice and then thrown out, I wore them for the last 3 years continuously, so they have been very, very worn. There's also clothes that my mum got me, and my mum got me clothes when I was like 12 to maybe 15, 16 years old that I still wear. That's my entire wardrobe. And the main things I wear, the tights and the shirts with maybe a hoodie on top, they're kind of showing their wear because again, I haven't gone shopping for clothing for a very, very long time. And those clothes are not designed to be worn that much. So, you've got all the different signs. The tights are becoming more see-through. They've got the little puffy bits all over them. The stitching is becoming seen. With the t-shirts, you're getting the underarm looking a little bit festy, and you don't really like that anymore. And, overall, I think in general, I need newer clothes. And I also want to upgrade. So when it comes to upgrading, my husband, who I love to pieces, so if you're watching this, hey Patrick, I love you. He actually had and I love this word, it's a fashion word, glow up. He had a glow up, and he recently did his own switch. So we recently got married, and I think it's mostly because, from what he tells me, there were limited options in terms of what he could buy. But he ended up switching from t-shirt and jeans to proper shirts and jeans with a nice leather jacket. And really the difference was massive. Like, it seems like it's not much of a difference, but really the difference has been massive. He looks a lot better. He looks a lot more swoosh. He looks a lot more fancy schmancy. He's always been sexy, but he's taken. But he looks really, really good. So I'm hoping to kind of, upgrade in a similar fashion. The other thing is I also want to express myself, which seems obvious. I do genuinely think fashion is a form of creativity. It's like painting on a canvas, but your paints are items of clothing and your canvas is you. And I do want to express myself more. And right now, I think I'm mostly expressing logos and advertisements for different fandoms and things. And I don't think that's wrong. Like, I don't think that cannot be a part of a wardrobe that is a personal style or something that pertains to you personally. But I do feel like it would be nice if more of my core wardrobe was stuff that people would associate with me rather than merch items for random fandoms. Rhymed. Yeah, so that's another thing I really want to do. And the next reason why is because I am a musician, and I actually think it's very important for musicians to have a look. And I see this more and more and more nowadays. So I'm going to just very briefly go through why I think it's important for a musician and why I think it's important for me as a musician, or if you're a musician, it could be important for you. And the first thing is quite simply because people make snap judgments based on what they see. So I mentioned this earlier, but you kind of want to convey what you do and what sort of, values you have, attitudes you have, maybe even sound you have. Like, obviously there are certain stereotypical looks associated with genres of music, like punk or whatever, country, cowboy boots. But you don't have to follow like the stereotypes. In fact, you could do the complete opposite and do a big contrast thing. But overall, I think that having just some signals to give people an idea, at least a little bit of what they're going to get, is a good idea. Often when you look at people that are rather large artists in various genres, you can see what genre they're in from how they're dressed and styled. It's actually visible from their overall look, what sort of genre they would do. So that's something to consider. The next thing is memorability, because it's really, really hard to leave a visual imprint. And I mean visual specifically, because obviously you want your music to be memorable as a musician, but you do want people to remember what you look like, and that's actually very hard to do. And the only way I think you really can do it is by having at least one part of your look be so very distinct from everything else that everyone always sees around them that, they remember it. And that's very hard nowadays because everyone is an influencer and everybody has a unique look. So a lot of artists, I think, have gone quite extreme with their looks for that reason. But I do think memorability is important. And this leads into my last point, and I think the most important point, and the thing that gets me most excited, which is I think in general, being a musician nowadays, it's not just about having the ability to perform, sing or play an instrument or have a certain sound or even write songs. Nowadays, you're giving an entire world to an audience. You're giving them not just your music, but you're giving them your personality, your look, your aesthetic, your world. Literally, some artists have created an entire world. And nowadays, I think audiences really do expect that. In general, if they like a song, they might vaguely download it for $1. The artist gets 10 cents and then move on and never think about that artist again. Whereas if an audience member connects with an artist's world, it doesn't matter what that artist is putting out, whether it's music, fashion items, merch products, a book, a blog, whatever it is, they will want to know about it, It's because they're interested in the world, not just one random catchy song. So I'm really interested in putting forward my own world and getting people to connect with my own world as well. And what you look like has a big part to do with that, because you carry it around with you everywhere. When you perform, when you post on social media, when you stream on Twitch or YouTube or wherever you stream, you're kind of carrying it around everywhere with you, and it's always there. So I think it's something to think about for that reason as well. So in terms of my starting place, just where we're going from, because this is the first vlog in a series, hopefully you'll see gradual improvement as we move along. The main things I really want to improve upon are memorability. I really think of those 3 things I mentioned earlier. For musicians, my memorability is hopefully good with my music. I think my music is quite unique because of the genre I'm in and the style I have for creating my songs. I'm very proud of it and I love it, and I'm hoping that it's coming across well. But in terms of my look, I think my look is pretty typical. When you look around in malls, most people are either wearing jeans or tights. I wear tights. And most people are wearing t-shirts, and I wear t-shirts. I think there is a very typical casual look, which is what I've been wearing for a long time, and I wouldn't be surprised if people can't remember for the life of them what I've worn, because it is very, very, very typical. And I don't think it's bad. Like, I don't look at my wardrobe and think it's terrible, even though, like, obviously I've mentioned that I don't think they're super high quality. I never thought I looked bad, if that makes sense, but I don't think it's memorable. I don't think it leaves an impression. I also want to up the quality of the clothes. I think in general that's probably a good aim for everyone to have, but I do think that spending a bit more time getting higher quality clothes is a good idea. And that's not just in terms of, better fabric or durability, but I've just kind of worn whatever. Sometimes when the free shirts they've given out have been extra, extra large, I'll wear that, even though it's obviously down to my knees. I won't really look for fitted t-shirts. So even though I have t-shirts, they're of all different random sizes. Some of them I literally chopped up because they look terrible without being chopped up. And even with the tights, a lot of them are getting quite frumpy. So overall, it's not just the quality in terms of the fabric and the cost, it's also just getting stuff that looks better or fits better or has more interesting styling or, I guess, attention to detail on it, which you can't even see in shirts and stuff. I mean, you can to some extent, but I mean like laces or whatever. I can't even describe this properly. The other thing is I would also like to have variety, because right now I'm mostly wearing t-shirts and tights, which is boring as all hell. It's always the same silhouette. It's always the same thing, but also a more consistent style, because although I'm always wearing the same kind of items, there's no consistency in terms of the style. Like sometimes it will be a JavaScript shirt with math pants, and sometimes it'll be like, a guitar with Wonder Woman tights or something like that. And there's no real one kind of thing going on. I don't know what a better word to explain that would be. My goal in the end really is if people could Photoshop my head out of every single image, or at least my face out of every single image of me wearing a bunch of clothes, would people still know that it's me? Because I would love for me to have a style where people can actually look at stuff and say, that is Meri. So I don't think I have that at all, and that's kind of the main goal. In terms of things I'm inspired by, because that's kind of where we got to start, I'm inspired by music, art, Specifically, I like surrealism and fantasy and sci-fi, obviously. I love novelty, and I don't know how that can play into proper fashion in any way whatsoever, but I love novelty. I have a million novelty hats. You can kind of see a few in the background. And also brightness, and I love the color yellow, things like that. I also have an artwork that's kind of, or an art style, I don't know, an art character that's kind of stuck with me since even high school years. This yellow girl, and she's gone through all these different worlds that I've created, and really, as I mentioned earlier, I want to share my world with people, and I feel like the yellow girl is at the core of this world, and she's always there. She's on my album covers. Again, since high school, I've been drawing this one character, and it's kind of my go-to art because this is the world in my mind, and I want to share that with people. And the yellow girl, I think she kind of represents, in a way, like naivety, childishness, because she looks very young, but also curiosity and like exploration, a bit of loneliness as well, because she's always alone, and she's often reaching out to see if she can connect with other people, but she always ends up alone. And also creativity, because she's always got this guitar on her, or at least a lot of the images, she has a guitar on her, and obviously is drawn to creative pursuits as well. And the worlds that she's in are often very surreal, again, because I love surrealism and that sort of whole fantastical world thing. So somehow I want to draw on all of that and put that together to create a look. If you, from watching this vlog, have any ideas, feel free to comment below, because that would be great. That would be great. I'm going to be going on this exploration and posting in future vlogs. I'm going to see how I can go discovering this look. It may be an endless journey, but hopefully I can reach some sort of a decent point through this series in terms of finding a proper direction and swimming through this pool of confusion. And hopefully you can come along with me and keep me company, give me your thoughts, give me your opinions. And if you're finding your own style, if you're going on your own journey, definitely feel free to comment below with that as well, and tell me about that too. So this is it for vlog 1. I don't know how many vlogs there'll be. I'm not sure. Originally I was like, this will be a 4-part series. I'm like, I don't even know. I have no clue. This could be a 1,000,000-part series for all I know right now. But thank you for watching this vlog. It's massively appreciated, and I hope to see you in future ones. Yeah, bye for now. Thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, I would love for you to hit down that subscribe button and also the bell notification button so you can be notified in future when I put up videos. Also, I'd love to do a massive shout out for everyone who is a part of Ninja Club. Your support and encouragement is absolutely invaluable. Thank you so very much. If you're a fan of what I do, I encourage you to check out Ninja Club. There is a link at the top of the description box, and have a wonderful rest of your day. You rock all the Lego blocks.